I want to invite all of you here who have been feeling like you've moved out of a time in which your life has felt solid and predictable, a time when you had a plan and a direction and a sense of control over your life, and now suddenly everything is shifting. Maybe the career that you've worked so hard for is starting to feel meaningless, or you lost a job just out of nowhere. Maybe a relationship that once felt stable has started to unravel. Or again, out of the blue, you find that it's just ripped away. Maybe you're losing people that you thought would always be there. Or your body isn't cooperating the way it used to. Maybe there's a sudden diagnosis or illness. And it's not just on a personal level. Perhaps for you, even the world itself is feeling a lot heavier, more chaotic, more unpredictable. And it's as if the universe has just flipped the table on your life and said, it's time for something new. But what? And why is this happening? You're probably wondering. Well, welcome to Together We Awaken, Finding Light in the Dark, a podcast dedicated to helping you navigate the major life transformations, dark nights of the soul, and spiritual awakening that we're all going through together with more confidence, more clarity, and inner peace, even when it feels like you're losing everything. I'm Allison Bruner, a spiritual guide and healing practitioner. I have walked through my own spiritual initiations several times, and I help others move through the deep transformation that is now underway for all of us, both personally and collectively. And today, I want to talk about what happens when the life you've built begins to crumble, whether that's happening slowly or all at once. You probably are sensing, if you're not fully clear, that humanity is going through an enormous shift. Old systems are breaking down. Governments, economies, institutions, even long-held belief systems are falling apart. And people are feeling lost, exhausted, restless, angry, disillusioned. The stories that we once trusted don't feel solid anymore. And we don't feel stable because stability was an illusion. It's collapsing. Financial markets are volatile, industries are crumbling, and entire ways of living are being called into question, if not dismantled, right? At least at the time that I'm recording this. The earth itself, herself, she's also speaking. You can see that there are big climate shifts occurring. There are natural disasters, whether you believe they are natural, and others that may not be so natural. Global instability is also mirroring an internal and external chaos of transformation. And if you're feeling untethered in all of this, please know you are not alone. And you're not failing. You're awakening. I remember feeling when I was going through my biggest spiritual initiation, I felt like a failure. I'm here to tell you it has nothing to do with failing or failure. It's uncomfortable and it's unsettling. I know, I get it. And if you're feeling that, I wonder if you can just take a moment to slow down and really hear me. Like, if you're like me and you like to listen to podcasts while doing the dishes or driving, um, getting other things done, making the bed, I want to invite you just to have a seat on that bed or sit on the kitchen chair close to your sink where you're washing the dishes, or pull your car over somewhere safe, and really hear me. I know that this is uncomfortable. I know that it feels unsettling. But please hear me when I say to you, it's okay. It's necessary. Before the new, there's so much new coming in. Before the new can emerge, the old must fall. And if you feel afraid when I say that, it's all right. It's normal to feel afraid. And I'm here with you as you feel that. And this is all leading to something far more amazing than you ever could have imagined. Or maybe you did. Maybe there's a part of you that knew that in this life, this is what you were here for, because it is. My own life unraveled completely several times in my life. The biggest one, which I think is much like what we're all going through right now, happened to me in 2015. My life completely unraveled. I too had built a life that looked solid from the outside. I had a thriving psychotherapy practice in uh, a part of downtown Philadelphia that was considered the sort of luxurious shopping, the premier shopping district. I had a social life with people who were creative and really fun and visionaries. I felt very connected. And I had a deep sense of purpose in my work. If you'd had said to me that that was all going to fall apart, I would have said, "You're kidding me. There's no way. I am on purpose. My life makes sense, total sense. Why would this end?" But it did. Everything started to fall apart. I couldn't see it at the time, but something even greater wanted to work its way in. Something soul led. And it all did have purpose. Up until that point, I was on track. I was having all of the experiences my soul wanted to have, but I was graduating from that earth school classroom, if you will. I mastered something, and then I was ready to up level. And so that world had to kind of be taken away from me. My work, there were aspects of my work that no longer fulfilled me because I had mastered a lot. My relationships started to feel hollow and they broke down completely. I eventually found myself pretty isolated. And I realized years later that it was all an important experience to have so I could really find out who I was underneath of all of the masks that I wore and the layers of me that I presented to the world that I thought that I was, but they were just personas. I was living out archetypes, all great, right? All perfect. My body started failing me. I was exhausted. I was in pain. And I just wasn't able to push through like I used to. Even the city itself, which I had told many friends back then, was not only one of the great loves of my life, but the skyscrapers even felt like my parents. It, where it had once felt so alive and so exciting, it all of a sudden felt very suffocating, depleting, and dark. And that's not any commentary on Philadelphia, by the way. I still have a great love for that city. It's that there was this outward projection of what was going on for me internally. Same with the friends that I had. I was yearning all of a sudden for something so much deeper. So at first I thought I just needed a reset. I thought I could fix it by tweaking some things. I just needed to push through. But the more that I tried to force my old life to keep working or try and make little tweaks here and there, the worse that things got. I was experiencing what I call, in sessions with my clients one on one, a tower moment, the complete breakdown of a life that no longer aligned with who I was becoming. And it was pretty excruciating. If I hadn't been so exhausted and confused, I would have felt ashamed. From time to time, I did feel embarrassed. I didn't tell my closest friends everything that was going on. And when I tried with one person, their inability to understand and then to project their own meaning onto it in a pathologizing kind of way was very, very painful for me. So I learned to just keep it all inside. I was watching everything that I had built, so that I had worked so hard to build, crumble. And a big part of me didn't know why, but another part did. And I'll get to that. I just remember one night sitting in my car feeling so depressed and just staring out at a dark parking lot. And I was asking, what is happening to me? Why is my life falling apart? And I remembered, maybe this isn't a punishment. Maybe this is an initiation, because I had spent my younger years navigating clinical depression and reading book after book about what to do, about how to heal it. And I came across one called Dark Nights of the Soul by Thomas More. And I learned from his work that there are these periods in the life of a person who is called to something far greater, in which we navigate periods or cycles in which it does feel that all is lost, that all is ripped away. Our entire life gets reoriented, and we're it's like we're going through this massive transformation that we can't quite see or describe or even understand, and until we get to the other side. I somehow knew that this was the start of one of those, that much was being taken from me to prepare for a future that I hadn't even known was possible. And this is what's going on for all of us. There is a great initiation, big tower moments happening for people all over the world, most likely including you if you're still listening. So, if you know anything about tarot, and if you don't, it's fine, but the Tower card, which I have right here, I don't know if you can see it, I can't see myself, but the Tower represents sudden upheaval, destruction, and collapse. You can see from the images here. It's my least favorite card in tarot, probably my least favorite moment in life or experience to have in life. That's human. We like to control, we like to build, but when it's like having the mandala, the sand mandala you worked so hard to construct in Buddhism, then they completely take it away. And when I've watched them build these sand mandalas, these beautiful colorful mandalas, that part where they wipe it all away has always been very painful for me to watch. I go, oh my God, how can they do that? Because they understand this is what life is about. So it's the stripping away of what no longer serves us. How could they create something, another beautiful masterpiece, if they didn't strip away or clear away the one that they had just created? It's the moment when false stability crumbles, when we realize that everything is impermanent. It's a reckoning. It's the breakdown before what leads up to rebirth. And it feels chaotic. Heck, it feels unfair. But the tower, and I want to back up and I want you to hear this, okay? The tower never destroys what is real and what was meant to last. It only burns down what was never meant to last. What cannot serve you as you up level and move into something greater. So some of the ways that this is showing up in our world right now is that governments are unstable and toppling and will continue to do so. We're seeing like we've never seen it before. It can't hide anymore. Corruption, deception, long-standing power structures are being revealed for what they are. Economic systems are shifting. Job markets are unpredictable, and the way that we work is changing. This 40-hour or 37-hour work week business is not healthy, you guys. It was never healthy. And we feel guilt when we try and change our schedule. We think we're really lucky when we get to shift that schedule, but it's not about luck. It's about balance. How many of you feel guilty when you take a mental health day from work? We were never meant to operate this way, so out of balance, with spending the majority of our life working and so little of our time connecting with others, going within, being with our families, laughing. Belief systems, entire belief systems are being questioned. Many people are leaving traditional religions or institutions or ideologies that they once trusted. Social movements are rising and falling. The way that we engage with justice and equality and progress is evolving. It's uncomfortable, and I know that it can feel overwhelming, and yet it's necessary. If you need to take a break from it, do so. In fact, I don't recommend watching it all. I recommend placing more awareness on your own personal experience of this. But just like in personal transformation, the old has to crumble before the new can take shape in the world. It honestly, the outer world is going to be a reflection of what we're all doing in our inner worlds. So I know a lot of you feel really called to make change in the outer world. I honor that. Honor that. Do it. But please know that if you're not doing the inner work, it's going to be really hard to make lasting change that comes not just from the heart, but also that is divinely guided. It's as though we're all in a life quake. And I have some suggestions, 3 suggestions for you as you go through this. One is, let the old fall. Let it die. Stop trying to glue the pieces back together. Hold on. because that's going to create suffering and anxiety. It's going to deplete you. Take it from me. I am one of the most stubborn people that I know. I was known for it growing up. My mom would call me stubborn as an ox or stubborn as a mule. And so one of my greatest spiritual initiations and dark nights of the soul lasted a very, very, very long time because I was certain I knew what was best, greater than what divine intelligence was trying to bring in and show me. The old version of you, it just wasn't meant to last forever because you are so much more. The second suggestion I have for you in this is to let yourself feel this. You don't have to distract yourself from it. And you probably are already noticing that when you try, it's not working like it used to. Distractions are not as fulfilling as they used to be. It's okay to grieve, to feel angry, and to not know what in the world comes next. It's okay to even feel afraid. I would suggest right now just taking some belly breaths and allowing your exhalations to be longer than your inhalations. Noticing where in your body you're feeling the grief, the sorrow, the anger, the deep disappointment, and the fear. You can place a hand on your body where you're feeling it or on your heart, letting your hand be an extension of your highest self, bringing comfort and presence, saying, I'm with you. I've got you. And become aware, even if it's not clear yet or it isn't clear for a while, but just be aware of what's trying to emerge. And I'll talk about this some more with a ritual that I'm going to suggest, but the tower only takes what was never truly meant for you forever. And what remains is where your next chapter begins. So I have a ritual that I would like to suggest to you, but I just realized that I left a little I left something across the room that I need for this. Um, Let me go get it. Okay, so what we're going to do is a simple fire ceremony, and I'm going to adjust this microphone so that I can use my hands. Now, I purchased this in a local store, in 2016, I think. I can't remember the name of it, but I know you can get these online. Better to support your small businesses if you can. If you can't find these anywhere, I know they're on Amazon. This is what it looks like. They call it an incense burner, but I'm not burning incense on it. I'm sure you can find these locally in most places, but you get one of those and 3 little pieces of paper. You're probably thinking you're going to write on the paper, but you're not. You're going to do something that's a little more powerful. We're going to work at the energetic level. And so we're using fire because it's one of the most powerful forces of transformation. Fire destroys what no longer serves us. It creates fertile ground for something new. It purifies, it clears, it renews. We see in the world there are a lot of wildfires going on, and some of that is the earth herself going through her own purification process. It's a transmutation.
why wait until there's a wildfire, or a fire in your life to purify and transmute? You can do this on your own. So what I'm going to invite you to do is write down or think for a moment, consider what in your life is crumbling, what is dying, what has either been ripped away or feels like it's being slowly taken away or slowly crumbling. What part of your life feels like it's burning to the ground? And then consider this. This is a spiritual platitude that has always made me roll my eyes. And if it makes you roll your eyes too, I get it. But it's a spiritual platitude for a reason. It's lasted this long for a reason. So ask yourself this question. If all of what's occurring is happening for me versus to me, if I'm not a victim in this situation and this is all happening for me, what might it be teaching me, inviting me to, or what might be emerging? And you might write that down. And also take a moment to consider what in your life you still can feel grateful for. I know that can be hard when you're in the middle of a big death process, a tower moment. In my tower moments, my anchor, that which I felt so grateful for, I don't feel like it could have survived my tower moments without, was nature. In fact, I'd had zero interest in nature. Funny thing, given what I do for a living, but it's true. I had been in so much trauma throughout my life that I couldn't even notice what was around me. But these tower moments actually brought me back into harmony and relationship with the natural world. So what are you grateful for? Well, maybe it's a pet. Maybe it's that you still have a home you love. Or there's a friend who's always there for you. It could be that you have clean water. And so the first thing you're going to do is recall what it was you wrote down about what's dying. What are you having to let go of? What's burning to the ground? Feel in your body all of what you feel around this emotionally. So perhaps it's a job or a relationship. You might be feeling grief, anger, shock. Notice where in your body you feel that. And acknowledge it to it. Say to it, I feel you. I'm with you. And then you're going to take the edge off of the intensity of all of this by gathering up the emotion on your inhale and blowing it into the paper. So I'm going to do this with you. So what am I feeling today? A little density, a little heaviness. And I'm just going to gather that up from where I'm feeling it in my head and in my gut. Blow it into the paper. You can do that 1 time, twice, or 3 times. And then I was going to say set it on fire, but I once had a client tell me if you roll it and make it smaller, it's easier to burn and less of a chance of setting your house on fire. Very, very smart. So I set it on fire, and you can do the same. And for those of you who don't have something to burn in or to put the paper in, I'm going to invite you to gather up what you're feeling and blow it to the sun. Offer it to the sun. This is what I do when I'm not at home and I don't have access to this. I have to give it a little help. And notice how you're feeling. Notice how you're doing after you've helped move that energy along. Because when it gets stuck, that's when we suffer more. When we try to hold on to something, we suffer more. If you're, as I'm talking, I'm sensing there are those of you listening who are going, I'm not ready to let it go. Okay, great noticing. So be with the part of you that's not ready to let go. Honor it. Be present with it and say, okay, we'll let go when you're ready. Perhaps you might want to gather up the fear around letting go and blow that out. Make sense? If you have any questions, post them in the comments. Now, the gratitude piece. What in your life are you still grateful for? I am really grateful for this sunroom that serves as an office for me. I love this room. I love my cats, and I love that I live across from the woods and I can hike there. And so I just feel the gratitude that I feel. And notice where you feel it in your body, your gratitude. I feel it in my heart, and I'm going to gather that up. Blow it into the paper. Once, twice, or 3 times. Roll the paper. You don't have to. Some people use bay leaves instead of paper. And then set it on fire, or you can blow it to the sun. Make an offering to the sun. And let that go. This is an offering. This is fire ceremony, but it's also an offering. And then, what is the lesson? What do you sense is emerging through all this that you're really going to integrate, and the power, that you're going to integrate, and it's going to come into fruition on the other side? This is what you're calling in. So, as I was saying, fire transmutes heaviness back into light, and then it creates fertile ground for something new, something brighter, lighter, something more nourishing and nurturing grows in its place, right? As I was losing so much was taken, feeling like it was taken away from me in my tower moment, there was this sense within me, a knowing somehow of what was to come. I didn't know specifics. I did feel that there was a purpose in it all. And you might consider this. So first, with what you've let go of and the gratitude you're feeling, just breathe into some stillness right now. If your life no longer is comprised of the things that are dying and that you've blown out, you've released, in this place of gratitude for what remains, just feel into what might be coming next. You don't have to know. If you don't know, it's okay. You might have a little sense of it, maybe an outline or a blur. Or this will come in time. It's okay to be with the I don't know. Consider, though, what have you always dreamed of that no matter how hard you tried, you couldn't seem to make it happen or materialize? What dream have you given up on or not given yourself permission to pursue? What have you always wished you could be, but never dared believe in yourself to become that. And just feel in your body what it would be like to fully move into that, to embody that, to live in that world where this has materialized. Notice where you feel this in your body. And gather it up on your inhale. This is what you're calling in. And blow it into the paper or blow it to the sun. So I'm going to do mine. There's a house I'm looking for in my future. I'm feeling what it's like to live there. 1 to 3 times. I'm rolling my paper and then burning it as an act of calling this in. You can do the same with the sun. And need a little more fire. So please know this. If you are in a tower moment, you're not alone. The whole world is going through this right now. One of the things I really yearned for when I was going through my biggest tower moment, or I should say tower months, tower years, is community. I felt so isolated. Now, the isolation served me. It was an important component to the awakening that followed. But since we're all going through this together, why not share? That's one of the gifts of, if you're one of those people who's going through it for the first time with the whole world, we can do this as a community. So share in the comments your experience. And we can be here for each other. And then join me next week for episode 2, which is God's Not Ghosting You. It's just a dark night of the soul. And remember, if you're standing in the rubble of your old life, take a breath, get present, feel into what's to come, trust the process as it unfolds. You can't force it. You can't push through. The tower never falls without purpose, and neither do you.